So as we close, we just want to say thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Email us at readingbetweenreels@gmail.com or use the SpeakPipe app on our website. If you enjoyed the show, please like, follow, or subscribe, and review us on iTunes or Spotify. And one last thing, our next episode will be a review of Insomnia. Send us an email or voicemail about your favorite moments from Insomnia, and we'll share it on the next episode. So guys, final thoughts on Memento. Justin, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, let's do it. So, yeah, Christopher Nolan, man. That guy has a style, and I think his style was like batting 1,000 in this movie, right? Everything that he's known for, he did in this movie, and then I feel like every other movie since he's walked it back. And it, like I said at the start of the show, he pulls it off. It works out. It's amazing. Right. It is a freaking masterpiece of storytelling. I was trying to explain this movie because like I said earlier, I've never seen this movie. I was trying to explain this movie and I can't explain it. It's done in such a way that it's amazing. And man, Christopher Nolan, what a dude. Great movie. No concerns. So rewatchable. 10 out of 10.
Okay. Corey, what about you? Final thoughts on Memento?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah,
or am
Corey.
I talking to you? Oh, yeah, no. Forgot where the heck I'm at. Listen.
Noise.
This movie is chaos. I have no idea what's going on. Now, by the way, my memory is shot, and this is how I live my life. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. But I got to say, Christopher Nolan must have hated algebra in high school because he cannot do anything linear. He cannot think straight. He has to find a way to curve everything, twist everything. It makes sense. I saw an interview with him afterwards when I was doing a little research and he discussed it. But I was too caught off. Like I said, I think it's a non-linear movie, and I think people are going to be in two categories on this movie. You're going to love it, or you're going to be one who's confused by it and all the bouncing chaos and not know where you're at. I am in the second category. I thought
really
it's a top-notch cast, but like I said, I was a little caught up in the chaos, and it's not a movie that I feel like I could pop on and figure out, just let it play in the background and then watch in and out. No. You can't.
You know what?
And
no.
it's so
you know
for
what,
me, it's a one watcher. Christopher Nolan, sorry, you're a one watcher on this movie for me. And this movie, after looking at the research and everything that people are saying online, I definitely feel like I shouldn't say that loudly and proudly because, man, I could get some hate from people because this movie seems to be a favorite everywhere. But
I think I'm starting to realize why we have different opinions, which is good because that's why you're on the podcast. Well, I mean, also for other reasons, I'm sure. I think you like movies that you can casually watch, right?
yes.
You want to
Gray Man.
You want to multitask while you watch movies, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the ADD side of my brain.
No, I respect the crap out of that because there's a ton of movies that I will specifically not watch a certain movie because I'm like, I got to pay too much attention to this right now.
Yep.
I'm not in the mood to pay attention. I got to do something else. Fair. Oh, wow. I learned something about you. That's cool.
Hey. Craig, what did you think? Your final thought.
So my final thoughts, like I've said multiple times, I love this movie. I've probably seen it half dozen times or more. And I still am confused in the best possible way. It takes a good 20 minutes before you kind of get into the rhythm of it, and I totally dig that.
Yeah.
But I had some.
I was at the get-go of this movie. This is the first time I watched it, but at the get-go, I'm texting Craig, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. What's happening?
Why, you got to let it wash over you. And Corey's right.
Yeah.
You can't text. You can't be on your phone. You have to pay attention. You'll be lost even if you're watching it. But if you're diverting your attention, then you're gonna have trouble.
In 2000, nobody had cell phones. You could do that.
Yeah. Now, so that's a nice transition into some other things that I had. Just some kind of throwaway things. A smartphone would have helped Leonard a ton.
Yes. He would have been Googling all kinds of things.
Well, and then voice memos, and because one of the big things in this film is who do you trust? Can you believe anything that Teddy says at all? Like, everybody in this film is an unreliable person, including
Lenny.
who
Well,
lies
we
to
don't know
himself.
that until the end.
No, but we don't. But when you get to the end, just brilliantly
Or
folds
the
in on itself.
beginning.
Or the beginning, or the middle, depending on how you watch it. Because that's
I got algebra.
you know, as we said at the beginning, there's a way to watch this movie in chronological order. It used to be on DVD when this first came out. It was on DVD. There's a way to watch that, and you can find it online very easily and watch it in chronological order if you want. Still confusing, but it is really well made. But the last thing that I want to say is, and Corey's going to groan when I say this because he doesn't like Blade Runner, but for me, the thing about the memories and the memories making you who you are, like, just absolutely thematically fit with a lot of what we hear in Blade Runner. Like, they have to embed those memories so that the emotional center actually works and functions. That's kind of how they become more human. And that's kind of how, Leonard has changed that way because of the fact that he's doing all these things without those memories. So
but his memories are lies to himself.
Yeah.
But
So
not the memories that make him Leonard.
Yeah.
Like, he lies to, like, preserve the idea of Leonard.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't like the new Leonard.
Yeah, and one of the big lies, possibly, because it's and I love the fact that this movie is so vague about what's actually happening, is Leonard Sammy, or is Sammy a separate person?
Okay, because that was my next question.
I mean,
was his wife not real then?
No, I think his wife was real, but whether or not she had diabetes, as Teddy says, and you see that there's conflicting memories with that, but you have that flash of Sammy sitting in the in the hospital there, or the whatever part of that psychiatric ward or whatever it was, and then it flashes and it's Leonard in the chair. So there's, I think, both ways. It could be he could be conflating his memories with Sammy's.
I mean, just like all Nolan movies, I feel like there's no definite answer.
Yeah.
But I took it as there is a Sammy, but Sammy. Oh wait, no.
Sammy was a con man.
See, what's the problem here is what are the chances he's some insurance guy investigating an accident that happened to Sammy and he gets the exact same accident?
Well, no, I
That's
don't
where
think
you're like,
Sammy
okay, that doesn't work for me.
I don't think Sammy had that memory issue, but did Sammy exist and then he just attached the memory of the memory issue to Sammy?
We don't know.
He's 10-second Tom.
Oh man,
that's the brilliance of it. So,
but Craig, I like what you were saying about, like, it kind of relates to Blade Runner in terms of, like, what makes us who we are, what makes us human.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's that line Teddy says too. It's like, that's who you were. That's not who you are.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that I was like, oh man. So that's my final thoughts. As far as world building goes, I mean, the biggest thing for me is just that it's basically it's our world. It's not anything fantastic about it. It's all very real. In fact, I've read a quote that said many medical experts say that Memento was like the most realistic and accurate depiction of anterograde amnesia. So that's pretty cool.
I do feel like I may have that sometimes.
And it's like
you're constantly, like, trying to catch your breath in this movie, like a mental like you need a mental catch your breath.
Yeah,
because you try and piece things together, but by the time you piece something together, it's on to the next scene, and you've forgotten what you were trying to piece together.
Thank you very much.
It's so immersive. I love it. As I said earlier, it's just so immersive. And is
this one day?
No, it's multiple days.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly how many days it is, but there's at least a couple of nights. Because he spends the night at
that's right. Because he wakes up in the hotel.
House.
He has 2 hotels.
Yeah. It's hard because he does fall asleep here. Oh yeah, there was one night where he stayed up all night and burned his wife's stuff. Maybe for the 100th time, burned truckloads of her stuff or whatever. It's multiple. I don't know how many days it is. I didn't go.
And
right.
You're on the edge of your seat the entire time because he's having, like, you're trying to world build as the audience, but then he's also trying to world build, but he can't. And anytime he's having a dialogue or a conversation, you're just like, when is he going to forget this conversation? When is that going to happen? When is this going to reset? And it's so...
You're waiting for him. Yeah. Concentrate. Find a pen.
Find a pen. Yeah.
Is that the point of the movie, though? Is they're taking advantage of him? Because Natalie goes out in the car after he hits her, waits about 2 minutes, and then comes back in, and he has no recollection. And she hid all the pens in the house so he couldn't write anything down.
Yeah.
So she's kind of a villain in this because she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
Oh, she's absolutely.
Am I right?
She's
no,
the
yeah,
worst.
Okay.
She manipulates him, and Teddy manipulates him. He manipulates himself.
Dodd is not
the hotel
guy that killed
Bert?
his wife, right?
No.
This is just some other guy. He already caught the killer last year.
According to Teddy, who I don't know if we can
According to Teddy, who said you already did it.
The picture seems to indicate, the picture of him pointing at his chest with a big smile indicates that he did in fact do that. But
this movie is one breath away from him waking up at the end and going, "It was all a dream."
yeah.
It's I hate that. We all hate that.
Yeah.
But
There's definitely
it
no
was very
closure
close.
where his memory comes back. So
No.
Now, okay, I got to throw this out there because I'm a big fan of this movie. This is like, I think Christopher Nolan was influenced by the movie Clean Slate when he wrote this book or this.
Are you talking about the Dana Carvey movie?
Yes, because now listen. I have a fan theory about this.
First. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one, he watched Clean Slate, Dana Carvey's first movie, which came out. It did not do that well, but I love that movie. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a comedy, and every day he wakes up, he forgets who he is. Same thing. And his personality changes slightly every day because something different happens, so he's a different type of person. And I think that's happening in Memento. I see the influences of that in this movie. Also, by the way, Christopher Nolan, in one of his movies on the computer back there, had like a clean slate protocol. I'm just saying it's the same universe.
There it is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
In Dark Knight
but
Rises.
I have a note here written to myself that says you're full of crap. So
No, listen. Dark Knight
believe his
Rises, the computer program was named Clean Slate.
It's an homage.
And Nolan himself says he's a fan of comedies. Listen, my fan theory here is better than any one I've ever come up with. He was influenced by this movie 6 years previous. There we go.
Okay.
Throwing that out there.
All right, Corey, I got a fan theory. Ready?
Yes.
So, Leonard is a replicant. And the reason he's losing his memory is because of the deterioration that all replicants go through.
Lost in time.
Mm-hmm. And then Teddy.
Tears in the Rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tears in the Rain. Fan theory.
Well,
He's
that
replicant.
also happens in Los Angeles. So.
Yeah.
He's the first replicant. Okay, we have gotten way off here. This is just.
Hey, that's good. So as far as Hero's Journey goes, obviously it's not the traditional hero's journey, but what it is, I think, it's a villain's journey because it's Leonard's descent into that. Because he becomes, and again, that the last conversation that we hear with Teddy, where he talks, or one of the last ones, it's hard to keep track, right? He said, he says, "I'm not a killer." He's like, "That's why you're so good at it." Right?
They've used him before for this then.
Leonard has become this agent of evil.
Do you think that Leonard, though, once he solves this murder again, at the end, like let's say at the end and not the beginning, he solves the murder again, finds out that it was him, perhaps, does he make the same choice?
He won't remember.
But does he make the same choice to incriminate Teddy or someone else? Or does he, at some point, does he live with his decision and choose to remember that decision? Oh my goodness, audience, if you have not seen this movie, like this is going to make zero sense. Go watch the movie.
No, I hear you. I think he never, they talk about that too. He'll never remember that he did it. But that doesn't mean
Yes, he will because he still has all the photos.
Well, he won't remember.
But would he force himself to remember? Rather than say, don't believe Teddy's lies, does he like take a picture of himself and say, you killed her?
What he should say
ever do
is
that?
Get rid of all the Polaroids and everything and then take the cash out of the trunk and go. But he'll forget
I love
that.
how Teddy was constantly trying to get the keys from Leonard. That made me so happy. Like as many times as he could. He's like, "Hey, let me take the keys. Let me get that car." Every time.
Well,
Because he knew the money was in the trunk. I just pieced that together from what you said. Okay, you're helping me. Okay.
I didn't even think about that. I thought he just really liked the car. But that's
we
no.
probably
The
should
money
have had
and
like
that
a
gun are
pre-show
in the
where we
trunk.
just
But mainly the money.
explained this movie to each other.
Yeah. Genius. So characters in this movie. I mean, we talked a little bit about Guy Pearce is fantastic in this film. And you know, that's I mean, I don't know if you guys did research on this. Like initially Brad Pitt was attached, which obviously Brad Pitt could have crushed this, but I think it's better that it's someone who's not as big of a star doing this.
I think Brad Pitt would have been.
I think he would have crushed it. Like, especially younger
this
Brad
has a
Pitt.
little bit of Fight Club. This has a Fight Club vibe to it.
Yeah, I mean that's the year before.
Yeah.
And young Brad Pitt can just do Unhinged really easily. Like I watched 12 Monkeys recently, and it's like you forget how good of an actor Brad Pitt is.
I don't think we forget. I think we all remember.
Yeah.
You know, Craig said something really funny today, Corey and audience. He said Tom Cruise is an underrated actor. I'm like, no,
he is.
He is an underrated actor.
The man has
he's
no
an excellent
Oscars.
actor.
The man
that
he
gets
should have
appreciated
Oscars
for how good he is.
But he should have Oscars. And he doesn't have any Oscars.
is better now than he ever was before.
No,
His last 10 years have been stellar.
yeah. I think he's always been good. Like you go back and watch Few Good Men, and he is fantastic in that. That's 30 years ago.
You go back and you watch him in Night and Day, and you fall in love with him. I love him in that
I
movie.
think he's
that's
well
on your phone
appreciated
movie.
because he's so good.
Yeah, but he hasn't received the awards that someone with his supposed reputation has. That's my opinion.
He's broke his ankle and kept going.
Yeah. So did Jackie Chan. He's not a good actor.
All right. So we're off task. See, this is why we need Polaroids and ink pens, guys.
So Guy Pearce is great. As we talked about, Carrie-Anne
This
Moss plays
this
Natalie.
whole cast.
Half of the Matrix is in this movie. I remember that's how they kind of.
And half of Batman Begins is in this movie. Eckert's in this movie.
I think we're going to see that a lot in these Christopher Nolan movies. He recycles all these dudes.
Yeah, Mark
Burt-
Fan Theory.
Mark Boone.
He's in
Junior.
Inception. All of these are just different dreams of Christopher Nolan through Inception. You know, he's like creating this world. That's why the characters repeat. Boom. Fan Theory.
I think so.
Could be. Joey Pantoliano, as Teddy is fantastic and just charming but sleazy at the same time.
He always is.
Yeah.
Ever since The Matrix.
I mean, he was in Daredevil. He was great in Daredevil. He wasn't bad.
Yeah, he wasn't sleazy in Daredevil.
Yeah, he was sleazy. He was a sleazy news reporter. News reporters are sleazy people.
I got
Sorry,
I just realized that he's in Matrix. I didn't put that together.
I remember. Yeah,
He's also in Bad Boys, and he plays the captain, and I think he does a great job. I feel like in this character, he looks and sounds the same as that captain.
He's way sleazier in this, though. I always liked him in The Fugitive. That was I think the first thing I really liked him in.
He was good in that. I forgot. Yes.
For you guys about Teddy. So Teddy, he's a cop, maybe we think.
Yes.
Or a snitch, or a drug dealer,
or a snitch,
all of the three,
or something.
I think he was a dirty cop.
I think so, too.
So here's the question though. He makes the decision to not tell Leonard about the condition. Like he seems like he doesn't. Is that the right decision? Do you tell someone that and like potentially ruin their life or the next 10 minutes of their life? Or do you just kind of like play along and give that guy purpose? What is the right decision there?
All right. Outsider perspective, totally confused, not a fan of the movie. I watched it once, I'll be done. In my mind, at the end, the part that made sense to me was to think he was the dirtbag cop that he was on the phone with in the beginning.
Well, he was.
And
that's
he
definitive.
took all this stuff in, did not report it. He cleaned it all up. He doctored all this up, and he's just using him to get back at revenge and to see if he could, like he said, you're the perfect killer, so that he can go and settle scores and get money from drug dealers and do these things because he doesn't remember. He's the perfect fall guy. No recollection of what he did. And so he wants the money in that trunk. He's just got to try and use him and abuse him in all of this scheme.
Yeah, he wanted him to take out Jimmy. That's the whole idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so he really is a dirty cop.
But is that the right move? Like him giving Leonard purpose instead of telling Leonard the truth? and wrecking his life. Is that the right thing to do?
Well, I mean, Teddy would tell you that it wouldn't matter because Leonard's not going to remember anyway.
Yeah.
So no, it's not the right thing, but there's a lot of subjective morality in this. I mean, just make a couple.
What's that
bucks
line
on
that
this?
Leonard says? Just because I don't remember doing something doesn't mean my actions don't matter, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Just a brief cameo by Georgia Fox as Leonard's wife, she was big in CSI around the time this movie was made, but she hasn't really done a whole lot since.
Yes.
Stephen Tobolowsky rather, from Groundhog Day, probably most famously. Sammy Jenkins. Remember Sammy Jenkins?
Yep. Callum Keith Rennie, who played Dodd, he was in Battlestar Galactica. I love that guy.
After watching Battlestar Galactica, I'm like, oh, that's the Battlestar Galactica.
You see him in a lot more things now.
Oh yeah, well he's just one of those guys that's in tons of stuff. The thing that I forgot, the guy who I forgot was in this is Thomas Lennon, who plays the doctor, the psychiatrist who's tested Sammy with the electric shock thing. He was in Reno 911. He's been in a ton of stuff. He's in Dark Knight Rises.
He's in New Girl.
He's the guy who does the
he's in everything.
Ostrich boots. Yes, in Reno 911.
Yeah,
famous meme.
Yeah,
new boots.
Yeah, I think that's everybody of note.
Kimberly Campbell, she plays the blonde girl.
Yeah,
she was in Final Destination around this time. She was good.
Do any of these characters not use Leonard? So we have Natalie, the bartender, uses Leonard. Teddy uses Leonard.
Leonard uses Leonard.
Leonard uses Leonard. The hotel guy uses Leonard. He's renting him out 2 rooms.
So far.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
I mean, the one thing I thought was interesting is, so we assume Jimmy has used him at some point. Jimmy's met him, but we don't see that first meeting. That to me is always kind of interesting. Like when he shows up, at the meet, and he's like, "Oh, it's a amnesia guy or whatever." Like they've met before, but we don't see that initial meeting. The first.
Okay, I'm blanking. Who's Jimmy again?
That's the guy whose clothes he takes and kills with the tire.
Yeah.
And he
that's
knew
Natalie's
Leonard.
husband,
boyfriend,
or boyfriend. Now there's a mind trip too, because imagine Jimmy leaves. This is the part that threw me off. Jimmy leaves, and Leonard comes back wearing his clothes and with his car.
Yeah, well, that's where you have that thing where Natalie comes down. And
That's
she's
why
like, "Hey, Jimmy."
she's kind of the villain, right? Because she
knows she can
she's
assume what happened.
weaponizing him to get back at him for. She knows what he did,
or can at least safely assume. Yeah, nobody really knows, but yeah. All right, setting and design. As we kind of alluded to earlier, it's shot in Los Angeles, and very real world. I mean, it lends to the verisimilitude. That's for you, Dan. It feels very real because it's in all these real world locations. It's not on a set anywhere.
Yeah, I wonder if any of this was a created from scratch set. I bet they were all just driving around LA like, "Hey, there's a spot. Okay, cool."
I don't think so. Yeah, if you Google it, you can find basically all the locations.
This was Nolan's first movie, right? This wasn't a big budget.
His first studio movie. No.
So he wasn't building sets.
No, they made this movie on $9 million.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, and it grossed 40. So, yeah, his first movie is Following, that's an independent film, but this is his first studio film.
This is it.
Yeah.
The trailer for this movie, by the way, is terrible.
No, it's awful.
Whoever makes the trailer, you should be ashamed of yourself. You used every cliche in the book. It was terrible.
I feel like you would not be able to make a trailer for this movie without giving it away or confusing your audience. Like, how do you walk that line?
I don't know.
There you go, fans. Send us your fan-made trailers of Memento that don't ruin the movie, but also
that's a good point, Justin.
How
would you
cut a regular trailer and then play it backwards?
I guess
that's it. Speaking of the real world stuff, if you've ever stayed in a hotel, that's exactly what they look like, with the the cheap art on the walls and the ice bucket and the Gideon Bible that he reads religiously.
Yeah.
Da-dum-bum. Love that joke.
Wait, has anyone not stayed? You said if you've ever stayed in a hotel. Do people not stay in hotels? No?
I mean,
like
some people probably
Airbnb
haven't,
now.
but anyone who ever has is like, yeah, that feels like it's in a hotel room.
That's a pretty universal
Yeah.
experience, though. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Natalie's house, like the wood paneling and the dead grass out front, speaks to who she is, I think.
Yeah.
I love that he wakes
characterization.
up in bed next to Natalie, and he's just kind of like, "Oh, who's that? Oh, where am I?" Like he's not like super alarmed. He's confused, but not alarmed.
He's always confused but never alarmed.
Yes.
Yeah, he just kind of rolls with everything.
You'd be talking about me too. I that's how I live my life.
Just like
very
you just
confused,
pretend like you know
never
what's going on.
alarmed. You just
Quarter mile at a
pretend.
time.
I think as teachers, you kind of have to do that on a daily basis.
Oh,
Yep.
all the time with kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just got to pretend like you know what you're doing.
You're like, oh, well, that's a surprise.
Yeah. Part of the thing that dates this movie a little bit, but I don't mind it at all, is speaking of props, is the Polaroid pictures. Like, I think it absolutely works for what we're doing. But it is very analog, this movie. Like, here's an envelope full of papers. Here's Teddy's file. Here's Leonard's file missing 12 pages.
I feel like you could easily, though, kind of like what you said, like if you wanted to modernize this movie, just take out the Polaroid, put in a phone, take a picture, take a note on the phone,
Yeah.
They did that in Clean Slate. They used a voice recorder, and every day he told himself.
Stop with the clean slate, Corey.
But the fact that
Christopher Nolan loves that movie.
Harder to deceive himself if it's not analog.
I just don't think you could make this movie today and still write this storyline with a cell phones.
You have to set it pre-smartphone.
He'll forget his PIN code the next 10 minutes later.
It'd be
He's got to reset
Face
it,
ID.
go through the email, Face ID. That's just it's a mess.
Fingerprints.
No, it'd be Face ID, and that way he knows it's him, and someone's not spoofing him.
It's true.
There you go. But I did think I always forget the thing about like his wife's. We mentioned or I should say we will mention Kimberly Campbell as the blonde. Why he takes all of his wife's stuff and puts it all around the room so that he wakes up and for at least half of a second feels like she's still alive.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because he sees her stuff everywhere.
So, did he ever... Honestly, I feel like we need to do a second show where we actually discuss the show and not just like ask questions of each other. Did he ever actually have a brain injury, or did he make that up to explain his condition?
He hit his front of his head in the mirror.
But did he? Like maybe because
There's
what
no
if he's
definitive
making
answer
it,
for any of this.
What if he's making it up just to like
That's just lazy
cover
writing.
he killed it? He killed
No,
his.
it's not lazy writing, Corey.
But why would he kill his
interesting.
wife if he didn't have a brain injury? I don't know, guys.
Because
I'm
he-
lost here.
When he tells the cop this whole story, he recollects everything to the detail.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden,
Well, he
he's got this
remembers
image.
everything up
Does he
until the
really-
part where when
But
he's
did
on
he
the
make
floor
up the
lying
brain
there.
lying on the cold hard ground?
I don't know. I don't know about this movie.
No, it's fantastic.
No. It's a good movie. I'm not questioning Corey.
Yeah.
No, it's a
Yeah.
good movie.
He doesn't like because it challenges him.
This
okay,
movie
Corey.
is instantly like top 5 favorite movies.
I'm going to need to have
Easily.
coffee with
For
Nolan.
me.
Talk to him about it. Someone get him on the line.
You know what? I know he listens to our podcast, so
pretty
we
sure.
should really just have
We'll
him
need to
call
get
in
him
one
on the
of
show.
these times.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing
He
his
definitely-
movies for the next several weeks. So Nolan, give us a call.
He's
Say,
gonna
we
find
got
out.
questions.
Yeah.
I mean,
Somebody
Yeah.
knows a guy.
what's
who
he
knows
filming
a guy.
right now? He's not busy.
No, the
He's
Odyssey,
not
man.
busy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
The
pretty
Odyssey is in production right now.
busy. It's kind of a big one.
That's a long
It's
movie.
gonna-
You got
it's gonna be
time.
Well,
You
it's
can
gonna be
squeeze
a
him in
long
for
movie.
10-minute phone call. That's all we need.
Spans several decades. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Doc on it.
Yeah. So, performances. Let's talk about the performances. Guy Pearce is
I don't
great.
like Guy Pearce.
Really? How do you
No,
not
no.
like
Let
Guy
me,
Pearce?
let me finish.
Okay.
Let
There
me,
you
let me
said
finish. Let me finish. I've never liked Guy Pearce until this movie. Because my first introduction to Guy Pearce was Time Machine,
Oh.
and I thought he was kind of
I
weird.
love
in that
him
movie.
in that movie.
But now I'm like categorizing all of my feelings about him, and I'm like, do I like Guy Pearce? because I loved him in this. He was great in this.
No, he's
he feels
so believable and
chaotic
tragic in this.
and like out of sync with everything.
Yeah.
He was incredible in Time Machine. And I'm going to tell you this, even though I am in the latter category of not being a fan favorite of this movie, every single actor in this movie gave top-notch performance. I'm not going to lie. There's not anybody in here that I was like, that's just a terrible character. Every single one of them.
Yeah,
and I'm going to tell you this. I watch a lot of B movies, a lot of low-budget movies, like, you know, especially with time travel and things like that. I love those movies. So that's like a little secret thing. But for a $9 million movie and a very new director, he pulled a cast that I don't think you could assemble for anything for $9 million ever again. Like this is phenomenal to what he did.
I think Carrie Ann Moss does a better job in this than in Matrix.
Oh yeah, no, she's
yeah.
There's much
she sure
more
does go on
nuance.
an F-bomb tirade too for a little bit.
There's a lot of F-bombs in this movie.
But like all of these characters, I'm looking down the line here on this cast, and I'm like, every single one of these people turned in a great performance.
Yeah,
for $9 million. Yeah.
Well, I think
they saw something in him or something at this point.
Yeah, he's a great director. He's good at it's not just the weird hoop jumping time wonky stuff. Like he can get great performances out of people, as we saw with Oppenheimer.
This is Tenet without the sci-fi aspect of it.
Yeah.
Or Clean Slate in the darker version.
Stop it.
Or Clean Slate.
It's a Blade Runner prequel.
That's right. So,
there you go.
You mentioned Guy Pearce. Did you seen LA Confidential?
No, I don't.
Corey, have you seen that?
Think so.
No.
That's okay.
The only thing I really know Guy Pearce from is Iron Man and Time Machine, which I absolutely love that movie, and then this one.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean,
The Hurt Locker. But I think he dies right at the beginning, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's barely in that.
I never watched that.
Spoiler, it happens in the first 5 minutes. A whole bunch of it's like MCU guys. There's like 3 MCU guys right at the beginning there, right? Isn't it because Jeremy Renner and
Alien Covenant?
Right,
he was in that.
Yes,
was he?
Yeah.
What?
He's Wayland. He's Wayland.
Oh yeah, that was stupid. I hate that. I have a lot of feelings about that.
He's in Prometheus. Too.
I have a lot of feelings.
In dude, LA Confidential is him, Kevin Spacey, and Russell Crowe, dude. It's great. Freaking cast, amazing cast.
Can we get off in the weeds about my feelings? Now they're bubbling to the surface.
I think we're already in the weeds, but keep going.
What? No, not us.
And then we'll
At
get
the
to
end,
the
this will
dialogue.
all tie together.
Alien Covenant, right? He plays Wayland. He plays the old guy that comes out of cryo sleep.
And that's in Prometheus.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, Prometheus. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Why
he
the
plays them
heck?
in both. Yeah.
Why the heck would you just get Guy Pearce to play an old man when you could just hire an old man to play an old man?
Because then he played the younger version.
It would be so much more
Covenant.
believable. Yeah, but like you could have just had Guy Pearce play the younger version. They didn't need to be that directly related. Like the prosthetics on that dude, like Prometheus. I love Prometheus. You know this. One of my favorite movies. And I hate the Guy Pearce. I hate Guy Pearce. You know what? I'm going back. I don't like Guy Pearce. Screw that guy.
Speaking of Guy
How'd you have
Pearce,
to remind me of that?
No,
I'd
sorry.
have coffee with him. He just seems like a good guy.
Yeah.
I'd have coffee with him so I could throw
Let's
it
call
in
him
his face.
too. Get him and Nolan on the line.
On the show together, we'll do like
I
a
need to be
Memento
mad about
retrospective.
something every single episode. This is what I'm really mad about. I'm choosing this.
What about lines of dialogue from this movie that you like?
Okay, I'm going to go first on this because I don't want you guys stealing it because there's a few lines that I did like. Okay?
Yeah.
Hey, you get one at a time. Otherwise, you steal them all.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to go at the end. The only line that I looked at and I go, okay, this pieced together for me and redeemed the movie. Okay? He says, I'm not a killer. I'm just someone who wanted to make things right. Can't I just let myself forget what you've told me? Can't I just let myself forget what you've made me do? You think I just want another puzzle to solve? Another John G to look for? You're John G. So you can be my John G. Will I lie to myself to be happy? In your case, Teddy, I will.
Yeah.
That was powerful because at that point I realized I'm going to make you. Do not believe his lies. You are the next guy. And so he lied to himself knowing I'm going to forget, I'm going to see this, I'm going to remember it, and I'm going to get back at him. I'm going to know he's lying to me. So that was a good one.
Yeah. That really reveals a lot about who Leonard is too, and his willingness to ruin somebody else. Justin, do you have one?
I guess since we're on a serious note, I'll take the serious note. So like memory is a tricky thing, even for people that have functioning memories, right? Like memory is very, very imperfect. I've heard, I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that like every time we remember something, we're not remembering the event, we're remembering the last time we remembered that event.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
So it's going to like slowly fade and change over time. Like, so he says, Teddy says this line to Leonard. He says, like kind of exasperated. Like he says, so you lie to yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. We all do it. And it's like, we do. Like we lie to ourselves to make ourselves feel better, to like make ourselves the victim of our own stories, but also the hero of our own stories. And he's able to like he's able to make that choice for his future self constantly. He can choose to tell his future self whatever he wants to make that person happy.
Yeah.
And it can completely shift his life. But like on a micro scale, we all do that to ourselves. He says another line about mirrors. I'm trying to find it where I'm
at the end. That's at the end. Yeah, like the last line of the film.
Yeah, we all need mirrors to remind ourselves of who we are. I'm no different.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, he is different. Because he's not using mirrors to remind himself. He's using his own imperfect recollection. Yep. Anyway, it's
because even when he takes the pictures and he puts the tattoos, he's not capturing everything, right? It's a very carefully cultivated what he's remembering or choosing to remind himself of. I should say he's not remembering, but choosing.
And he
himself
gets like
to start
deeper
himself
into his own web of lies that he's created, but. It's like a flywheel where he's forgetting that he created this web of lives. So he thinks he's like following a path that doesn't even exist.
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit later, but my favorite line from this, and I start it because I thought it was really kind of the movie in and of itself, like encapsulates the whole thing. Natalie says, she says, but even if you get revenge, you're not going to remember it. You're not even going to know what happened. And he says, my wife deserves vengeance. Doesn't make a difference whether I know about it. Just because there are things I don't remember doesn't make my actions meaningless.
Ooh, that goes with his quote here that I have as my second quote. If we can't make memories, we can't heal.
Yes.
Because
oh man, such a good line.
You piece your quote, Craig, with my quote, Craig. It does make it meaningless. If you can't remember that you did it, you're not healing.
Yeah.
So because in my mind, I'm thinking that he already killed because of what Teddy said, and if I'm believing Teddy,
and I think that's true.
He killed the killer a while ago, and his tattoo said, like the picture, he did it. Like, so I feel like you've already done it, but you can't memorize it, and so now you haven't healed, and so this is a year later. They've been abusing you as a killer.
Yeah.
To off people and get money from drug dealers or something.
Yeah.
So I feel he's never healed from his wife's murder.
I feel like you could pretty easily like take that and apply it to ourselves. Like just because we don't remember doing something good, or like if we change it for our scenario, just because we're not aware of doing something good doesn't mean it doesn't matter. Like you know, they always say, oh, be nice. You don't know the battles people are fighting or whatever. Like we could do that like on a micro scale, right? Like you don't know what good you're putting out there in the world or what bad you're putting out in the world. Just because you're not aware doesn't mean it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this movie. I want to watch it again.
I just like the quotes.
Oh, it's so good. I just the last one I have.
I like the.
Oh, do you have one?
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I thought it was your
just
turn?
I think we all wanted to steal this one, but like the scene starts, he goes, okay, so what am I doing? Oh, I'm chasing this guy. And then like he shoots at him. Oh, no, he's chasing me. I love it.
Yeah, I had that one written down too. But the last one I will go with is just because it's a great character beat. Natalie says, what's the last thing you do remember? And he says, my wife. She goes, that's sweet. Dying. I remember my wife dying. The delivery on that is just like he's just kind of done. You know, it's gallows humor.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like, yeah, my life sucks.
I mean, at that point, like, what else do you have?
Yeah.
This would be weird because this guy would never make another memory and then just wake up one day and be an old man with a bunch of crazy tattoos.
Yeah. Yeah. And never know that he had ever found John G.
Yeah.
Okay, so sound, special effects, soundtrack, vocal sounds. What kind of things did you guys have for this one?
Okay,
I think
Craig,
this movie has to use it. So go ahead.
I'm going to bring this up just because this is the only time. I feel like soundtrack-wise, like I heard nothing in the background as far as music. I didn't really pay attention to hear anything that was really over, like just it was always lost in the background if there was, until the final scenes. Then I noticed there was song playing in the back, music in the background, building the scene. Like when they're at the drug dealer, and him and Teddy have that thing, and then he comes out, throws the keys, whatever,
At
like
the
where
F
Dodd
building.
gets killed. Yeah. So
Jimmy
I
G.
feel like at the end we got finally background music, but before that I had never paid attention to any background or paid attention or noticed it. So
It's all the
am
way
I
through,
wrong?
though. No, it's all the
Is
way
it?
through. Oh yeah.
Oh jeez.
Well,
Never
you only
mind.
watch it the one time. And Justin, you'll love this, right? So it's David Julian who did Following and did a whole bunch of Nolan stuff up until he starts working with Hans Zimmer on Batman Begins, and he'll be back. But he
Why would I love that?
because he was inspired by Vangelis's work on Blade Runner. That's why it's all synth music. Yes. And Hans Zimmer,
terrible.
the Thin Red Line. So yeah, no, it's very much a take on the feeling you're supposed to get. So this is, I think that was another thing where I was just like, yeah, the memories make us who we are, and you got the synth score, and like it's in Los Angeles. Clearly, he's got some affection for Blade Runner as well. No one does.
So
I mean, who doesn't, other than Corbin?
yeah, the movie's great. It'd be crazy not to like the movie.
It's no Zack Snyder.
Well,
I
that's
don't
true.
think
It's
we're gonna
not.
let that go.
No.
So what I caught a lot is, ambient noises exist in film, and normally they just kind of exist to set the environment. But I feel like the ambient sound in this one, it was cut off a lot. Like it was really disjointed.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of there to obviously make the audience feel disjointed and be right there with
I think you're right.
Leonard.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, but the ambient sound in situations where he's trying to think, like when he's looking for the pen in Natalie's house, the ambient noises seem amplified, as if to create that level of
More
stress. Yeah, and then the moment where she shuts the car door and starts walking back to the house,
yeah, that's a
the
pretty good
ambient
one.
noises, the
Yeah.
soundtrack, everything is boom, gone. Like sound, because he's
That's what it
reset,
resets.
and the
Yep.
audience has reset with him.
Good catch.
And you got a point there, because then there'd be a hurriedness. I need to get a pen before I lose this.
I love that scene so much. And she just plays that so
Makes sense.
masterfully, where she comes back in and just play. There was one thing I meant to mention.
She's a villain.
When I meant to mention this with body language and whatnot, is that there's a quick shot of Leonard squeezing his hand, where he's like, "Why is my hand hurt?" Like, it doesn't say that, but he's like, "Huh." So he has some kind of sense memory of the fact that he's the one that hit her. I didn't catch that
he
for several
he
times.
noticed
Goes into
his
that a
knuckle.
little bit too.
Yep.
He
He goes into that a bit too when he goes. He looks at the wine bottle and he's like, "Huh, I don't feel drunk."
Yeah.
Because he knows I'm holding a bottle. Something should feel different here.
Yeah. So that flex into the hand I thought was really interesting. The one thing that really stood out to me sound-wise is that whole opening scene where it's all in reverse. So you get the backwards, it's all in series. It's all backwards. The Polaroid's backwards, and then you have, let's see, the blood drip is backwards, the gun catch is backwards, the ringing of the shell casing is backwards, and then it goes back into the gun backwards. The glass is unfalling, backwards gunfire, and then what I think was great is that you have Teddy shouts. If you listen for it, he shouts no, but it's backwards. So he's like, "Own!"
Oh yeah.
The whole thing, it's just brilliant.
Okay, I did not.
Didn't catch that.
Didn't see that.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, for voiceover, you need the voiceover for this. For Leonard's, explaining all, he's talking to us, which makes this incredibly immersive. We're on this ride with him. So, was this just a regular hotel room? Where am I? And the line that you pointed out, Justin, too, is am I chasing this guy? Oh, he's chasing me. All that's voiceover. He's just trying to catch us up or trying to figure it out. And we're trying to figure it out as he's trying to figure it out.
That was a funny spot. There's some funny things that hit in this movie. There are.
Yeah, he's got a very dry sense of humor throughout.
So anything else for sound? I'm trying to think if I had anything else that reminded me of the. We didn't really talk about the tattoos as much, but when we did
Talk about the worst way to do that. Goodness gracious!
Yeah, I kind of had it with
ballpoint pen and a needle.
Props too. Yeah, that he's if it's in a rush, you got to do that. All right, so cinematography, things that we notice visually in this film.
Okay,
Or you want to go first? Yeah,
I got a couple things because in the beginning it took me a while to catch on to notes, Craig. Because I'm not lying, I was so like, where the heck am I? What's going on? And I started the movie on my phone, and 5 minutes into
there
it,
you go.
I was watching it. It's close up, so I can see it. It's big screen, and so I was watching it. Got about 7 or 8 minutes into it just to start it. Turned my phone off because I had to go do something, and I remember thinking to myself, "Oh man, this movie pulled me in right away." Like I was like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to this." Right? Like he did the job. Right? Yeah. Within 5 minutes, I was thinking this was gonna be great. So. And then the rest of the movie, I got confused and chaos. But there's a scene in there where he comes back and the camera catches center of the scene so that you see it. The door says push and he pulls.
Yes.
And which we all do that. But it reminds me of that Far Side comic, School for the Gifted. And he did it. And I thought it was an intentional thing with a camera trick just to say, look at this, he doesn't even remember it's push pull and he's been here for a while. So it was kind of a great little clip.
Yeah, that's probably why, because he'd been there, but he didn't remember that he'd been there. Justin, do you have anything for cinematography right off the bat? Because I got a bunch.
I mean, like the obvious one, right? The black and white.
Yeah.
Right? It took me a little while to realize what was happening with the black and white. Like the black and white is going in chronological order, where the rest of the film
going front, and and that stuff all happens first too. All the black and white happens before the color.
Okay, so what is the last black and white scene?
The last black and white scene is the one that transitions into the color scene at the very end of the film, where he takes Teddy to the right before he throws the keys. Where Teddy has the whole conversation about, you've already done this, let's go downstairs. And then Leonard decides to go after him.
So Nolan uses this again in, what's the one about the bomb? We covered it.
Oppenheimer.
But I don't feel like, Oppenheimer isn't as much of a time distortion thing going on.
That's just kind of like two narratives. This is like one twisted in and of itself Mobius strip.
Yeah.
I
just thought of that just now. Like this is a movie. This is
wow.
It's a cinematic Mobius strip. Well, I was gonna say visually with this thing too, like because it does transition from black and white to
Mobius
color,
strip.
and it's which I thought was just genius, right? Where like he's holding the Polaroid and he's shaking the Polaroid, and the Polaroid develops. This is not. It's shown to us last, but chronologically, like in the middle of the film, he's shaking the Polaroid, and the Polaroid develops, and as it does that, it goes from black and white to color.
I didn't catch it. Wow.
It's so clever, because you're watching the Polaroid, but if you're looking carefully, you see his thumb change too, and then it pulls out to the wide shot, and it's full color, Leonard, everything. No, I had to go back. I'm like, what? How did it get to be color? Oh, that's how.
Huh.
Again, first studio film for this guy. And it's Wally Pfister too, we're going to see a ton of his work in this. The cinematographer is just
what's his second movie?
Well, Insomnia. Which
because I feel like Christopher Nolan really pulls it back later. Like obviously The Dark Knight, I'm sure there was a lot of studio involvement there where he can't go too crazy. Mm-hmm. But people always talk about what a mind trip Inception is. I'm like, no, Inception is watered down compared to this.
Oh yeah, it's just like, oh, that's all a dream. That's easy to, because you have a frame of reference. We have no frame of reference for this.
No frame of reference.
Because everything's happening.
It doesn't even
out
give
of
you
order.
a frame of reference until like halfway through, because you're just confused the first half.
Yeah, you do have to be just like, okay, wait, okay, that's the thing that connects to the other thing.
Yep.
Because you have those overlapping, the end of that thing, you get to see it again, like almost like a Pulp Fiction type of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, that transition, the black and white thing.
What scene I had on here, Craig, there's a scene where he's talking to Carrie Ann Moss after he woke up with her, and then he's talking to her. Anybody notice how steep that angle was looking at Guy Pearce? Like, it was super steep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were looking.
Wait, be more specific.
We were behind. They were sitting in the bedroom talking, and she was on the bed or something. Then he was talking to her, and he's getting ready to leave. We were behind her.
Yeah.
Her head's right here. And we're looking almost up his nose. Like, it was so steep. It was such a weird angle.
Low angle. Yeah.
And I felt like it had to say something there. I don't know. At this point in the movie, he's still the protagonist, like the hero. So you're looking up to him maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, and there were some really interesting angles that I saw too. The first time, well, it starts off the first time we get the black and white. It's this extreme close up of his eye because he's hyper focused, which I thought was a really cool way to do that. And then it pulls back, and we have this very high angle from like the corner of the bedroom in the hotel, and it's almost looks like a documentary, or like a security camera almost. It's super detached.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting because he's detached, right? He's trying to get oriented, and so we're trying to get oriented. But I mean, the biggest thing I saw, there's most of this movie is just conversation. So there's so much just shot counter shot, just like two people sitting at a table, shot counter shot, shot counter shot.
With Leonard, I noticed. Okay, so like if there's dialogue going on, like let's say he's talking to Natalie, Natalie will be framed in the center of the shot. Whereas Leonard is almost always to the side, not Dutch angle style, but like it creates a lot of negative space,
Interesting.
like almost showing that Leonard is more detached from what is going around, or what is going on. And then anytime Leonard is moving, it feels like it's a little bit of shaky cam. Yes. Whereas if Natalie or Teddy is moving, it's not as much shaky cam. But Leonard is a little more chaotic every time he moves around.
Yes, nice. Yes.
Yeah, and
I caught that.
Yeah, and he's framed awkwardly in a way that you wouldn't expect it to be framed for a normal protagonist, but not so much so that you're like, not like freaking Thor.
It's not jarring.
Shot, you're like, what is?
No, I didn't even catch it. Now I gotta watch it again.
It's not jarring. It's just kind of.
Yeah, it's odd. Subtle, but that makes total sense that she'd be in the middle and he's off because he's trying to get centered. Yeah, all of that. Yeah, I mean the only thing I had with that was just the shaky cam with the fight with Dodd in the hotel room. But I gotta watch it now. Him just walking by himself, it's shaky. Oh man, that's cool.
And it might have been some confirmation bias because once I noticed that, I think maybe I probably continued to notice it every single time and probably didn't notice the opposite. But I mean, it was still just.
They have to make those choices. Like, are we gonna do the steady cam or put it on your shoulder? Like somebody's making a choice there. So whether or not we read into it or not is highly irrelevant in my point. In my opinion. So all right. So overall thoughts on Memento. Corey, I'm gonna start with you.
Well, Craig, my overall thoughts, I feel like this is if I haven't said this before, a serious, darker remake of the version Clean Slate. I know that he's a fan of comedies, and he's used that line many times. But I gotta say, looking at this movie, I definitely am in the camp that I don't necessarily think it's a movie that I want to go back and rewatch multiple times. It's not one I can have on in the background.
Well, no, you can't do that.
But for this director to pull at this time, he was new. He didn't have his Batman to bank on. He didn't have his history, but he still pulled this cast for $9 million to make this movie. And I think that shows the talent that he is. Christopher Nolan is one of the top directors of all time. And I think you look at that. It's definitely not a linear movie. He doesn't want to do it in that, and that's part of what he does. He tells a story within the stories too. For me, it kept me a little chaotic, but at the same time, that's the character I have to follow. I have to follow Leonard, and his life is chaotic because he can't remember anything. And so the viewer, how do you take them along with that? You can't just make them know that he's losing his memory. You also have to make them go, wait, did that happen? Did that tie in? Like, you also are forgetting where you're at, which is a little bit of a brilliance move on his part. So there's my thought. Change my mind that this is a good movie. I mean, it's a good movie. Change my mind that it's a movie I should watch again.
You really do need to watch it again without any other distractions at all. as though it's too hard to do otherwise.
It is.
Justin, what are your overall thoughts on Memento?
So first time I'd seen it. I was gonna watch it sooner, but I knew that we were gonna do it for the podcast, so I was kind of like, waiting. And I loved it, start to finish. Well, maybe not start. At the start, I was very confused, but like confused knowing I was gonna get unconfused, hopefully. And it's just everything that I love about Nolan movies is this movie. You go into it not knowing that you have an unreliable narrator because he's like your only anchor to the world.
Yep.
Right? And then you want to trust this guy, but slowly you determine that this guy can't be trusted and he's not doing a very good job of telling this story to us because he doesn't even know the story himself. Like he's going through trying to solve a murder that he's already solved, but he's not really trying to solve a murder. He's trying to create a story that he can live with.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just wonder how many times that's unfolded for him. Anyway, I think right off the bat, like we're doing this Christopher Nolan series, and Christopher Nolan nails it right at the beginning.
Yep.
Like maybe more so than any of his other movies. I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen all of his movies. I will, but good stuff. Well done, Christopher Nolan.
Nice.
Can I add, before you go to yours, Craig, can I add something that just you jarred my memory, Justin, with that makes me like this movie a little more even? Is the fact that I had this uncle, and when I was younger, I was convinced he drove a Corvette. Absolute gray Corvette, like a 1975 Corvette. Told my family about it, told Janice about it. We got married. I was like, oh, that's my Uncle Ray. He drove this Corvette. Oh, it was beautiful. I remember being a kid looking at the back. Oh, I love this car. He was always the cool uncle. He came over for dinner several years ago. I had a little Hot Wheel car Corvette that I gave to June. I was like, my Uncle Ray drove this Corvette. And then he shows up. We're having dinner. And I said, Ray, what'd you ever do to that Corvette you had? And he's like, I never drove a Corvette. And I was like, what? You drove a Corvette? Yes, you did. And we were like, he was like, no, I didn't. I said, yes, you did. I saw a Corvette when you came out to the house. Turns out it was a 70-something Camaro. And I was like, okay, those two cars cannot be confused. And in my head, I constructed this memory, right? And so like what Justin's saying, there's a little bit of brilliance to us because you look and you say, how are people so crazy on some things? But you look and we're all constructing realities and memories that may not always be true. And that makes you who you are. Justin, that was good because it makes me think, wow, that there's a lot to this movie that you actually look at and you go, there's a story here about how people form their own unique thoughts on stuff. All right, you're making me like it more. Dang it.
Good.
Well, we got the rest of the podcast to drill this.
We'll talk about it the rest of the podcast.
The rest of the things we talk about. Yeah. So for me, just a couple of just notes real fast. So nominated for 2 things for Oscars. Best Original Screenplay, but lost to Gosford Park.
Oh,
what?
I'm sorry. That's a slap in the face.
Here's the thing. Here's the one that really irks me. Okay, it was nominated for Best Film Editing. Slam dunk, right? No, it lost to Black Hawk Down. WTF? It's good film.
I mean, Black Hawk Down is good, but
like,
it's not like this good.
Editing for this movie is like its central thing. I was going to say central tenet. The thing that it does that makes this movie great is the editing. One of the things. I mean, the writing is great, the performances are great, but without the editing for this movie, it doesn't work.
I don't think the movie, though, is bombastic enough to really stand out in that way, that's going to get a lot of awards like that. Like, I mean, Black Hawk Down. Like, think of that movie. That movie was, like, out of this park. You had, like, a star-studded cast. It was relevant to what was going on in the world-ish at that time.
You're talking 6 months after 9/11, so it was
care.
all...
I know,
well,
but I don't...
care now. But at that time, nothing's
No,
going to beat that.
I know. I saw the movie, and it's like, it's fine. That movie didn't blow my socks off either. But I understand, like, an action movie where you're going to... Well, it's not an action movie per se, but a movie like that with a lot going on, like, there's a lot of moving parts and whatnot. They're like... It's the editing that makes this movie the labyrinthian thing that it is.
Ooh. Man, labyrinthian and Mobius Strip? Dang, Craig.
I'll say
did
Mobius
you go to
Strip later
college
on.
when we weren't looking?
I did.
So, Craig, just to drive home your point, Rotten Tomatoes has Gosford Park at 75% and Memento at 94%.
Yeah. Not that I put all the stock in... Yeah,
No.
not that I put all the stock in Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, Man of
No.
Steel's 55%.
Yeah, you
Stop
can't
it.
put the stock in. But Zack Snyder.
But yeah,
I
Yes.
only like Rotten Tomatoes when it agrees with
but
my
it does
opinion.
show up that
It doesn't agree, I ignore it.
No, I've actually been watching a lot of like documentaries about older movies, like from the 80s and whatnot. And because I was watching Gremlins 2 the other day, and Leonard Maltin's in that, and I was like, oh, why is Leonard Maltin in that? Oh, because he didn't like Gremlins 1. And so I was like, oh yeah, when you were a kid, it was like Siskel and Ebert and Leonard Maltin, and there was like one or two others, and like that's who we listened to, and they don't care about the Rotten Tomatoes. There was no Rotten Tomatoes,
yeah.
and you just went and saw a movie, and we didn't care about like really what the critics said. We were just like, we're gonna go see the movie. So it's I dislike that very much. That's become a big part of movie going culture, that we have to check the Rotten Tomatoes
And that's a
score
good
first
way to
before
do
we go.
things too, because if you don't have like a definitive Rotten Tomatoes score, it's almost like you get a chance to see movies that maybe you wouldn't have seen normally. Like
Yeah.
I wonder how many movies Rotten Tomatoes has killed in its infancy.
Yeah.
That people didn't go see because other people said it was bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's responsible for some of the drop off for Batman v Superman and why it's considered to be not a success. I mean, it made $870 million.
Yeah.
Like, come on. But anyway, I digress. We'll talk about that again at some point. But my last thing I want to say for my overall thoughts was that I said this just kind of struck me, is that maybe this is the most immersive non-found footage film ever.
Maybe.
Because like I am completely in Leonard's shoes, and the way that it's like we mentioned, the way that it's edited, the way we're not sure who to believe, very much like it very effectively puts us in Leonard's shoes in a way that most movies, I don't think I've ever seen a movie that did that, where I had to go on the journey in that regard.
Okay, you put it
how
that
would you
way.
describe this movie? If someone asked you describe this movie without spoiling it, how would you describe it to somebody?
I tried telling it to Janice earlier, and she looked at me like, "What are you talking about?"
You have to go super dry. It's like we talked about the trailer thing. It's like it's a movie about a guy who can't make new memories trying to solve his wife's murder. That's mildly
that
entertaining.
doesn't properly convey like how cool it is.
No,
I told her
it
it's
doesn't.
like the movie Clean Slate, where the guy loses his memory and has to solve a crime.
Stop it.
I did. I told her that.
Imagine if Clean Slate was R-rated and he was trying to solve his wife's
That
murder.
makes more sense.
With lots of F-bombs.
I feel like I need to watch Clean Slate.
And then
now.
when I told her what happened, she said, "That's nothing like Clean Slate." I will say that.
I like your wife.
Nice.
No, Craig.
Craig, I
No,
think
that-
you have a point. This movie, at the end, we're on Leonard's shoes. It's chaotic all the way to the end. And then at the end, you find out, spoiler alert, you can't even trust Leonard because he's lied to himself.
Mhm.
So then the whole movie, you've been trying to trust him to piece all this together, and you're in the shoes with him. Like, Leonard, piece this together. We're in this together. And then you go to the end, you're like, oh, you also
Okay.
are lying and using yourself.
Yep.
You are turning yourself into a killer to get your own end of whatever end you're trying to get to. Wow.
And that
Okay.
could be all of us. All of us might do that in that
I
same
see
situation.
Why. I see why. Okay.
Yep.
You guys talked me into this. It's pretty good.
We will talk you into it.
Yes,
over
we
the
will.
course of this podcast.
Over the course of this
Okay, can I break
podcast.
the fourth wall a little bit? This is confusing the crap out of me. Like we did this podcast in reverse intentionally.
We did.
And it's kind of breaking my brain just a little bit. I really hope this is not the first episode that any of our listeners are listening to. They're going to be very confused.
I was trying to see if I could do the screen here in black and white while we were doing it, but I couldn't. The camera.
Welcome, movie fans. Thanks for joining us for episode 118 of Reading Between the Reels, the premier podcast of... I can't remember. Is it lying to yourself to be happy?
Making your own tattoos?
Do-it-yourself tattoos, maybe.
Should have made a note.
I don't know. Maybe I should have given myself a tattoo. If you're a new listener, you're probably thoroughly confused, but we're so glad that you found us. And if you've been enjoying our show, please like, follow, and subscribe, and review us on iTunes or Spotify. You can also support the show by posting on your socials and joining our Facebook group. I'm Craig Dickinson. I'm joined, as always, by my co-hosts Corey Heitschmidt and Justin Eldon. We are back together again. Finally, fellas, how are we doing tonight?
I don't know. I don't know why I'm here, but I have a note written to myself that says, "Make fun of Corey." So
I've got a tattoo over here that says the same thing.
Make fun of
Corey?
Oh no! Wait, wait! No, Doc got it. Oh man!
Oh my gosh, it's so good to be back. Corey, I'm gonna start with you. What have you been watching since the last time we chatted?
All right, I'm going to talk about this show. I am about 3 episodes away from finishing the series, and I'm so excited it's coming back. I started watching Resident Alien. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Oh,
Alan Tudyk, right?
I've seen
Alan
previews.
Tudyk it is brilliant, but I'm going to tell you there's a couple characters in there that steal the show, and Alan Tudyk is absolutely phenomenal. He is. But Corey Reynolds, the sheriff in that, I love that man. Him and then his deputy, Elizabeth Bowen. They are incredible. So, and Linda Hamilton's in it.
Oh.
She's top secret. And Sarah Tomko, she's Asta. Anyway, this show is incredible. It's this alien who comes to Earth, and to blend in, he plays the town doctor, and he's supposed to destroy the Earth and starts to grow human because he doesn't feel emotions, but he grows and feels emotions. It's a tremendous, the writing in this and the subtle delivery of lines is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So this show, it got switched from Sci-Fi to USA Network. It's going to come back later this year. So for season 4.
Oh.
It's a great show. This is right up my alley. It's a happy show. I got my wife watching it with part of me, and she's like, okay, when you're done, you have to start this over because I want to watch it.
Fun. Justin, what about you? What have you been watching?
So I finished Severance season 2.
Nice.
And while I liked Severance overall, I got my hopes up for season 2, the ending. I think Craig was the one that was told me it's not like Lost. It answers the questions. And I guess I assumed it answered all the questions, and it did not, and I'm disappointed.
Why are the
But
goats
I still like
there?
it.
I also don't know why the goats are there.
Why are the goats?
What's the smoke monster?
That's
Wait
the
a
Man
sec.
in Black, Corey.
Oh,
That's
Lost.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Jacob's brother.
I thought we were talking about Severance. I'm like, I missed the smoke monster. Okay, gotcha. So I watched that. That was good, but disappointing. And then Star Wars Episode 3 made it to theaters, and I took my son to go see that, and it was awesome. Of course it is.
Nice.
Was there a nice intro from Anakin on there, or from Hayden Christensen?
Yeah, well, it was pretty short. He basically just said, like, we're here to honor the 20th anniversary.
Okay.
And then this is where the fun begins. And then
that's what I saw a clip of that, and I thought, oh man, I love that guy.
Cool. Yeah, me too.
He's getting the due.
I really wish someone would have said, Master Skywalker, what are we going to do? And then the movie would have started. That would have been great.
Oh, that's harsh.
Eyebrows.
No, but just seeing, like, man, there was a lot of pollen in that theater or something, because I started to tear up there at the end, like when Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Movie,
and
yeah,
like, you were my brother. You were supposed to.
So
he
good.
He says, I hate you, and he says, I loved you.
Yep.
That is absolutely powerful.
Tearjerker.
I love that.
It's a
That whole scene.
Great
Especially
film.
if you've seen, like, the animated series, and, like, I mean, they reference all of the connections, like, in episode 3, but after you see, animated series, it's so much more, and it's so sad.
And Craig,
it's so sad.
It's made it more powerful for me. I know you don't like it, but the Obi-Wan series where him and
That's
Anakin
trash.
have that conversation at the end, and he says, I'm sorry, Anakin, for all of it. Oh,
Yep.
I love those. You piece those two scenes together where Obi-Wan is yelling at him in love, and then at the end, he's apologizing to him for pity.
Corey,
Craig?
I agree.
Oh,
The Obi-Wan series had some flaws.
Yes.
but
So many. Yeah, Riva
overall,
and Leia.
I liked it.
you gonna put that movie in theaters? I'd have watched it. I'd have spent money to see that.
It's so bad. It's
That.
so bad.
No, hey, Craig, I need to send this to you. I have a completely not pirated, legit version of the Obi-Wan series, but cut into movie format. It's like an
It's the
hour
one that cuts
and
Riva out of it,
45
right?
minutes. I believe so.
So they get rid of the bait and switch thing.
Yeah.
It's not the
Yeah,
it's
not a
not
fan-
the,
not
it's
a
not
fan
the
of
Riva
Riva.
show. No, it was a horrible character, and Vader would have killed her.
But like the
instantly.
Obi-Wan parts of that show are so good, and then that Obi-Wan,
Yes.
the
That's
part
all people wanted.
the part where where Anakin Skywalker gets his, or I guess Vader gets his mask like ripped off, and it's like half James Earl Jones, half what's his face?
Yes.
That is the first time where I'm just like, oh, I see it now. I see why Anakin spoke like that. He was doing the James Earl Jones cadence. Anyway, that was cool.
There are some redeeming moments in that, but I don't think they ever should have fought each other again. I think that minimizes the stuff on Mustafar. But
that's fair.
It grows it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like the bait and switch, and I think Reva's an awful character, and I think it's ridiculous that she can survive 2 lightsaber stabs to the gut, and that Vader would have absolutely killed her, especially after she tried to kill him. Like, that's just silly. Vader walking through the streets and like snapping that dude's neck and that whole thing where he burns Obi-Wan, that's kind of cool.
That is one of the few times, because you always hear how scary Vader is.
Yeah.
And Vader is never scary on screen. That's the first time he's like scary on screen.
When he pulls the ship down, also,
that's
freaking cool.
Yeah.
But I've said this before. My biggest gripe with that is the music. The first time Obi-Wan uses the Force and like isn't like Leia's falling, he like grabs her and stuff. They don't play the Force theme. Like like it's right there. Like that's ridiculous. You have to. That is an
I mean, to be fair though, Craig, like
that's a sin.
Probably the only one that would be irritated by that.
That is a sin that you did not do that. It's ridiculous. You outsmarted yourself. You played yourself. That's what you did.
Can we all agree Rogue One Vader shows a on-screen villain Vader that was phenomenal?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I said he's not scary.
That hallway scene is tremendous.
Yeah. It is tacked on, but it's fan service, but it's okay.
Oh.
Speaking of that,
I like fan service.
Okay. Speaking of that, what I have been watching, Andor came back, season 2, 3 episodes. As of recording tonight, we've only had 3 episodes so far. Pretty solid. There's a few things I don't like in it, but it's far and away the best thing that Disney Plus has done. Like it's better than Mando season 1 and season 2.
Oh, I love those.
Is it better than Andor season
1? So far, but Andor season 1 had a lot of world building to do, so that remains to be seen.
And better than Mandalorian season 1, huh?
Oh yeah, but what's more cinematic than like they film it outside, which is nice. No, it's really really good. But not as good as the other thing that I really want to talk about.
CGI sunsets?
No, it's not. It's not. It's real.
Oh, you love a good CGI sunset.
I did say. Actually, I'll skip to this real fast. Corey, I did tell you that I watched They Live finally.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Not a great film.
Speaking of B movies that are low budget.
No, it's not a great film. It's really bad.
It could be remade today. It could be remade.
Well, yeah. No,
you remake that movie now, it'd be phenomenal. Craig, listen. That movie is so good. I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Here's the problem with, no. Here's the thing.
The premise is sound.
Okay, the premise is sound, but here it's the execution. Because that scene is not earned. That happens way too early. Had he gone through and kicked all sorts of ass throughout the movie, and then that scene happens, and we know how awesome that guy is,
yes,
then that pays off. He hasn't done anything yet.
But Craig, it was the 80s. No. They didn't do those things then. They rushed everything. The 80s were terrible.
It was terrible.
It was 1988. You make that movie in 2025 with better story, like people just write better now. It would be phenomenal. That whole premise of the movie is incredible.
I think Corey likes that movie.
I love that. I love that.
I'm gonna challenge.
I know you do. We talked about this on our remake show, which is still available, guys. Check it out. That we think one of the best things you should do is take movies that you didn't finish, like that didn't get executed, like Highlander. We talked about that. Great concept, poor execution. That's a movie that should be remade.
Yes.
They Live would you could definitely do that now.
That needs a remake. Let me look.
One thing that I've not. You can ask Justin. I have not been able to shut up about is Shogun, and I know it's been out for a year, but I finally watched it. It's on Hulu, and it is fan-freaking-tastic. It's so good.
Can confirm he will not shut up about it.
I cannot shut up about it. It's so well done. So good. Very cinematic. Shogun. It's based on a book. It's Japan in the year 1600. So good. So I watched that.
It's based on a book?
Based on a book. And it was like a miniseries in like 1980, which you might have vague memories of, Corey.
Yeah.
So that's the last thing that I will rave about.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're not here to talk about those movies. Tonight, we are here to talk about the first in our series of the films of Christopher Nolan, Memento, from the year 2000.